Cristobal, host of today's first CCB Voices of Experience.
Nice to meet you, Cristobal.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Claudia, and thank you guys for having me. As Claudia says, CCB means a lot to us, and giving back a little bit of what we've executed with what we learned here, it means a lot. So I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, thank you for being here. Let's begin.
All right.
So, Rodrigo, when you think back to your years at CCB, what memory or experience marked you the most as an IB student?
I was a student athlete. I was a tennis player. That certainly marked my path. It was a bit of a different path, being an athlete and a student. CCB was very supportive of my activities. I understand that nowadays they've taken this support to a different level, and that really shaped me as a person. And also, the leadership roles that I undertook when I was a student as a head boy and really involved with the school actually also helped me later on to develop those leadership skills in other areas, work related or at university, etc., etc.
Okay. After graduating, what steps did you take for your professional life?
Well, I always had that entrepreneurial question in mind, but you never really know how to go about it. I used to talk with my brother about it a lot, said, you know what, let's put a little store, una tienda. But at some stage, let's do something, let's do a business of our own. But you never really knew how to do it. So I was a corporate, I graduated from school. I stayed I had the opportunity to study abroad. Highly recommend it for you guys who have that opportunity, take it. If you don't have an easy opportunity, look for it. That experience of living abroad and studying abroad just widens your approach to life, both professionally and personally. So after finishing school in the United States, I stayed there, worked in consulting, worked in the corporate life, finally did an MBA abroad as well. And I was, down the road, finished my MBA and still with the idea of starting a business. So I've sort of done a little bit of everything: corporate, traditional job with multinationals, consulting, until at one stage I decided to jump into the water and start the business.
Okay, what did you study, Rodrigo?
So I am in industrial engineering. I did my MBA in Australia, and that MBA has an emphasis in conflict resolution and negotiation.
Okay, thank you. So was there a person that influenced you to take that step?
Well, from a professional perspective, both my parents were hard workers. They both worked through our childhood. My father always worked for the same company, so this sort of career path you don't see very often anymore. But he started his first job as an intern in a company here in Cali, and then 45 years later finished as a high executive. And I always looked at his discipline, his work ethic, and used to think, if this guy has been so successful and he's devoted his entire life to a company, I just wonder what would have happened if just a percentage of that effort was ever put into his own business. So that triggered my mind a lot, and he's certainly a big influence from a work ethic perspective. But I rather than following his steps in a way of being a corporate executive, I was very influenced by that idea of what would happen if you put that effort, that discipline, that time into a business that you start your own. That was a big part of the decision to, as I said before, jump into the water and give it a try.
So now that we know more about your personal journey, we want to know more about SERO Colombia and the beginnings of it.
Okay.
So how did you know your business idea would be impactful, unique, and realistic?
I didn't. The reality is that you don't know this. You think, you plan, you look for as much information there is, but at some stage you've got to take a risk and know that down the road there will be a lot of challenges, and that you'll never know how you will solve the problems that will come along. So the message here is, yes, you need to plan. Yes, you need to research the hell of whatever you want to start. And then there's a lot of theory around business plans. There's a lot of theory about, trying, trials, pilot runs. But at some stage, you need to understand that there will be a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, and you need to believe in your criteria. You need to believe in the fact that you will be able to maneuver around these unexpected events. Businesses are definitely not a straight path. They take many twists and turns, and it's more about believing in the ability to maneuver around those challenges.
What skills do you think are important to maneuver those challenges?
Well, there's certainly personality traits. There's your typical tech entrepreneur that you read in the news, or the guys that just fall out of school because they find it too boring, and they go and start a company and make millions and buy a Ferrari. That's the story that everyone reads about. That's the very small percentage of entrepreneurs. Most of the entrepreneurs fail. Most entrepreneurs fail several times, and I still have a hard time putting my head around that fact of how do you start? And I know people that have started 10 businesses. They failed 9, and maybe they're struggling the 10th, and they're still going. There's other personalities where they do a more conservative approach and stick with the idea. But again, to your question, dealing with uncertainty is definitely an important component. The ability to relate to people and to build strong relationships is a very valuable trait for an entrepreneur. And taking risks. I'm very happy when I see around that some of the values that CCB promotes is actually risk takers, because that is an approach that will lead you to try things, to persevere in the plans that you have. So those are some traits that I believe are important.